Welcome back to Midnight Mayhem. I'm your host today, Bobby, and I love horror.
I'm Leonella Movies.
And I'm Raymond, the other guy.
And we have an additional guest.
Hi, my name's Jacob, or I go by my other name, Asozial Fives, on my YouTube channel.
Right on, right on. And today we're talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know why I'm talking like a
talk show.
yeah. What's wrong with me?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Midnight Mayhem.
I took a shot of energy drink before we started just to get pumped up for this. Five Nights at Freddy's. I feel like anyone who's watching this video has either heard of it already, or they're just because they watch our channel from time to time. They're just now hearing about it. We're gonna give just a quick oversight of the movie. I'm gonna break it down into. We're gonna get to know Jacob a little bit better, so you guys get a feel for his style, how much horror he actually watches. Oh shoot! And then we're gonna go.
Leave your hate down in the comments.
Yeah, it's just
all two comments. Link his channel.
Link his channel. Bully him.
The Gen Z opinion.
That's
we were watching horror movies while you were in diapers.
And then we'll do a synopsis, whether we recommend, and then we'll do the actual movie review, or actually the run through of the story. A little bit about the game, because that's pretty important to appreciating this this form of media, and then our opinions and that whole discussion that we normally do, and we'll try to keep it on track. So if this video is a little chopped up, it's because I want to make sure everything's properly separated. All right, that's enough for the intro. What are your 3 favorite horror movies, Jacob?
Well, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 20.
That's not that bad.
It's a decade.
A decade.
Shit, I forgot. You were 30,
We're on 30, yes.
Oh, all right, yeah.
All of us now, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
To be fair, though, I do have an older sister that is older than you guys.
Yeah.
So
How does it feel knowing we're going to be dead while you're, still around?
I don't want to think about that.
All right.
So you haven't hit that threshold yet?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. Oh, yeah.
As a casual horror fan, I definitely put Five Nights at Freddy's as my number 1. Number 2, I'd go for the original Halloween.
Okay.
It was in 1981. And then for number 3, I'd go with I think Saw 1, the one that made me fell in love with horror. I think those are my 3 movies right there.
Right on. That's a pretty solid list. I know that the main reason why I wanted you on today was because I know that I feel like sometimes we could be too much of a yes man channel, where we have very similar opinions. Yeah. Aside from when we have shitty opinions.
Raymond,
like not like
Leo,
like
Raymond,
or The Hive,
or The Shining,
or The Shining. I like The Shining.
Hereditary.
Better watch out.
You guys didn't like The Shining?
He didn't like The Shining.
I liked it. I liked it. It was slow, super slow
compared to the others. Compared to modern horror. Besides, but let's not bring it that tangent.
Yeah,
all right, favorite horror scenes. I'll give top two, best and most memorable. Stuck doesn't have to be your favorite horror movie scene, but
since I'm a big Star Wars fan and I thought it gave me major Darth Vader vibes, was when at the beginning of Halloween Kills, I think was it 2021 when Michael Myers walks out
wrong channel.
He lost all his credentials.
When Michael Myers walks out of the house and he kills all those firefighters, I think it was the most Darth Vader scene.
Oh yeah.
Rogue One vibes.
Yeah, it was a heavy Rogue One at that point.
The
last firefighter's like, get this to the chief.
And then before we continue on and we start talking about the movie, give it a little discussion about your channel. What's your goals? What are you trying to do? We're just a bunch of
nobody hoodlums in their 30s.
Yeah, okay. just making the most out of life.
We're just 30-year-old teenagers who do this in our free time.
This gives us a reason to see each other. Otherwise, we never see each other.
So, obviously, my channel started off as me wanting to have fun in the quarantine, just upload my videos. But I think it just slowly evolved into something I take pride in. I really like the work that comes into content creation. So hopefully, I can expand in any path.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Well, if you want any of our 12 subscribers, man, just give us the word.
Good, of course. I'll take the 12 subscribers.
We'll shout you out to our 3
subscribers.
I know.
I love you, Bam. I love you, Moonstar.
Bobby's sister, Bobby's aunt,
and then your nephew.
Yeah,
and his son.
All right. Wow.
I made him an email just for this reason.
Send myself emails. All right. So we're gonna pause here, and then the next thing we're gonna talk about synopsis, our ratings, and whether or not we recommend it, and then we'll start going into spoilers after that segment. All right. So we'll be right back. All right. So the quick synopsis of Five Nights at Freddy's. If you've never heard of it, it's basically evil Chuck E. Cheese. That's the best way you can describe it.
Yeah.
it's
Some
more
kind
like
of Willy's Wonderland.
I guess some people had found the
some kind of banana splits.
some people have found the animatronics to be creepy at a young age. I never did, but I could see how some people would after watching or playing the games of Five Nights at Freddy's. The quick overview is that you go to a playpen or like a small little.
This is the summary of the game or summary of the movie?
Both, because it's about the same.
About the same.
All
I'm gonna
right, so
try to splice it right in the middle. So the main story is gonna how was I gonna say? I got this, guys. I'm not shit. All right, let's go.
Give him more energy drink.
Imagine
Lock in a little bit.
you go to Chuck E. Cheese and your kid disappears, basically, and the horror that comes with that. That is what the premise of the movie is based on. It's about a serial kidnapper and killer who kidnaps specifically children. And basically the animatronics at the location has become possessed by the children that passed away. So if that sounds interesting to you at all and you don't already know what Five Nights at Freddy's is, I recommend checking it out. I'm not going to go too much into it because there's no way to not spoil without explaining further. So we'll go into ratings, whether we recommend or not. I'll let Raymond go first. Actually, no, you're our guest. You can go first. You already said this is your top favorite horror.
So obviously, I'd highly recommend it. Honestly, it's a movie I waited for a very long time, as any FNAF fan would wait for, and so I'd give it the 10 out of 10.
Okay, then that's across from like horror and just as a movie as a whole.
Oh, we're talking about horror?
We're talking about both.
Never mind. This
was
movie's bad.
Okay, honestly, horror was definitely lacking for like a solid 30 minutes. Maybe it was like a horror movie. But if we're gonna... I don't even know then.
Yeah, that's because I could bracket this on a few different things. I'm going to go last because I know I talked the most. So if you want a minute, I can toss it over to one of these guys.
Go for it.
All right, who wants to go?
You go first.
You
man.
go first.
All right,
I insist.
Raymond, you're going.
Oh, shucks.
I'm the host.
It was all right. It's very tame. Like there were
Classic
certain,
PG-13.
There were certain scenes where I was like, oh man, if this had a R rating, like
This would be a cool scene.
Mm-hmm. Like there was the mask with like the saws on it. I was like, just imagine seeing that dig into someone's face and like having the bone like stop the saw. I was like, that'd be fantastic. There was one kill in the movie that I really liked. It was very creative how they did it with the silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
But
get into it
overall,
later.
I would probably give it like a 7 out of 10.
That's pretty high for you.
I was
That's
gonna
pretty
say
high.
6.5, but we have a guest. You know what?
I
Yeah.
appreciate the 0.5.
All right, Leo.
I mean, I was never a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy. I was,
Out getting chicks. I wasn't playing video games.
No, when the first video game came out, like obviously, like I was on top of the fandom, because I was
The
like,
hype
oh
train?
yeah, the hype train, kind of like remember Slender when that was a
Yep.
thing, yeah. So this came out like a couple years after that, and I was like, yeah, I wonder what this game is about. And it's like, I started catching up on it, and I was like, okay, I mean, I kind of get what it is. Before I knew it, there was like 9 sequels of the game.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, I know. And on top
There's
of
a
that,
ridiculous amount.
yeah, I know. And so by the time the movie was announced, I was like, I mean, that would be kind of cool. But by the time the movie was announced, there was already 2 other movies that were released that were already very, very heavily inspired by FNAF. You
Yeah,
know?
basically,
Yes.
FNAF went into production, and the other movie studios was like, I could do this quicker.
Yeah, which
was
was
going to be Willy's Wonderland and
Banana
Splits.
Splits.
It was interesting because Warner Brothers originally had Five Nights at Freddy's, and they were very...
They were already in development for like,
Yeah.
it was in development hell for like a long, long
the
time.
longest time.
So-
Yeah.
What's your rating?
So, I mean, my rating, like, it was really slow. It was really slow. Personally, I didn't like it, but mainly heavily because I don't know anything about FNAF,
Of course.
So you're seeing it as a perspective of just never knowing nothing about the franchise.
So
and just as a
I'd give
horror
it
movie?
a 6 out of 10. So
Yeah.
like a solid, like it's
It's a movie.
It's enjoyable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do have to appreciate the references that they did to the game, because even though I don't know nothing about the game, when there was a reference on the screen, I knew it was a reference. I was like, oh, like that's the bite. Oh, that's that little balloon boy. Like I knew certain references that they put them there, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm not a fan,
Like,
but like I can.
That's for the fans. Like, if you watch it blind, you're like, I don't know what this is.
Exactly. Like, I don't know nothing about
Like,
FNAF.
why is this little balloon guy jump scaring me 3 times in the movie?
No, not only that, but it's like I know the different kind of suits. Like, there was a golden Freddy that was walking around, and I was like, okay, I kind of heard about that one too, you know, and it made me kind of like look more into the lore, and I was like,
I've seen
wow.
the toys. Like, that's
Yeah,
how...
exactly. So I know, but I was like, it's not like a golden Freddy, but it's more like a torn down Freddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll go more into it in a bit.
Yeah.
But
So I was like, you know, I don't know nothing about FNAF, but I do appreciate them. Like, if I get those references, I can't imagine like a fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they would
it's
go
like-
nuts over those references. So I'm like, I gotta appreciate the for the, you know, they did it for the fans. They didn't just like hashed out this half-ass movie. Like they did it for the fans, but at the same time, it had a PG-13 rating. So there's just so much you can do with that.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if it was rated R, sure, I would have enjoyed it
would've
more.
been fun.
But that would have cut out an entire like
group of people that would have enjoyed this.
Exactly. And
Shit.
it, obviously, like, FNAF does have that somewhat family, you know, like...
Family
Kind
friendly
of.
horror.
Family
Yeah.
friendly. It's
Kinda
kind of
like
family
Poppy
friendly
Playtime
horror.
has that same thing.
Exactly.
I've seen little kids walking around with like
Yeah.
Huggy
Little
Wuggy.
toys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
I'm like,
exactly.
alright.
Everywhere.
So they had to keep it PG-13, so I kind of get it like that.
I respect it because they made their money back with that PG-13
Yeah,
rating.
yeah. So,
So-
but yeah, 6 out of 10.
So you can call me Jim Carrey because I'm the yes man. I completely agree with Leo here. I have 2 ratings for it, and I'll probably end up sitting at a 7
You
overall.
can't give 2 ratings. Give
No,
one rating.
because as a horror
Gotta have
movie,
3.
as a horror movie, I completely agree. It's like a 6. It's a pretty mid horror movie, but as a tribute and as an homage to a fandom, like
Right,
YouTube
exactly,
would not be
yeah.
as big as it is currently if it wasn't for FNAF.
Yeah.
Like it's insane how much people enjoy and love this series, and because I love horror, I already knew. Oh, I
Hey, you
I
said
didn't
the
play
thing.
the game. Yeah, I said the thing.
No, yeah.
Yeah, let me fix.
And on top of that, like if you know me, I love anything that has heavy lore. You know, like I'm a fan of Star Wars. I'm a fan of Harry Potter. You know, like anything that has heavy lore, I'm 100% into. You know, like Dune recently. Like, oh my god, I just recently got into Dune. Anyways, this series has a bunch of lore.
Yeah, that's why when we talk about the video game section, we're gonna keep it to the bare bones. Because if we try to do it, we're just gonna end up having a map pack. We're gonna have
Yeah.
a game theory video that's like an hour.
4-hour video just came
Yeah.
out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
we're not doing that. We're trying to
Just
keep
talking about like the bites.
And me and you were just like, yeah, we don't know anything about this.
the
We just download the games right after.
And we're going to start a stream.
So,
yeah.
so as a horror movie, it is mid. I'm placing it at that 6 mark. I agree with Leo on that. As an enjoyable franchise, like something for fans to love. I love nostalgic type stuff. So with that factor, I put it at an 8. And so I'm gonna be in the middle and just put it at a 7.7 out of 10.
He stole both of our answers.
Yeah, I did. But
That's
I
why
made,
he
but I
wanted to
made
go
it.
last.
I made it sound good though.
All right, your turn. What's your rating?
What's your
Our
rating?
final rating. All right, I'd give it an 8.
8.
An 8, definitely an 8.
All right, I have a question. So it's pretty notoriously known that most horror game movie adaptations are just not good. Do you think this is the one that broke that chain?
Definitely.
Or do you think this is something that they could have done a little bit better on?
Well,
It's a good question.
That is a very good
actually,
question.
you know, because it's like, what was the last good horror video game movie
Trick
adaptation?
question.
Or-
There wasn't.
Ah.
Here's the thing, though.
Stay Alive, starring Frankie
I
Muniz.
believe Finance of,
What's it even based
I
on?
believe Finance of Freddy became Blumhouse's like highest grossing film.
Sure, I believe that.
Like, so this is their, I guess
Magnus
statistically,
opum.
yeah,
Well, actually, no. Hold on, because Blumhouse. What other movies came out from Blumhouse?
they got was it
Oh
got-
no,
they
no,
got-
no. What's that movie that we talked about last time? The one with the hand.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. That's
That was-
Blumhouse.
Is that Blumhouse?
No, that was.
Oh no, it's
A24.
A24.
That was
That's
A24.
A24. You're
I'm
right.
about to say,
you're
no,
right,
the
you're right.
later
Don't forget.
bridges.
You're the
they have,
movie
I think
guy.
it's the Black Phone. Is it the Black Phone?
The Black Phone. That's Blumhouse. Yeah.
And
Black
then,
Phone
yeah,
was-
Megan.
Megan, sure, but I would say Five Nights did more than Megan.
Yeah.
Came out the same year, but
Both have creepy
I don't know.
robots.
I don't know because
Yeah.
Blumhouse. I want to know if the Paranormal Activity was around when Blumhouse was around. Because if that's the case, well, I don't know. I'm
Check
gonna
it
look it
out.
up.
Like
Yeah,
use
I'm
your
gonna look it
laptop.
up,
That's
man.
what I said.
I'm gonna look it
But
up.
before we move on to the next subject matter, because what did I say? We're going to talk about we did synopsis, and now we're going to break down the movie. There's a bunch of videos doing that. You can look it up on YouTube, no problem. We'll try our best to just make it like story beat, okay? And then right after that, we'll do the story beats of the game, and then we'll finish off the video with our opinions, even more so. All right, so
Oh, this is crazy.
found it.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Hurry, we're
All
shaking
right,
in
yeah,
We need to
anticipation.
Blumhouse
find this out.
Productions. Okay, so I mean, technically, Five Nights at Freddy's is Blumhouse highest grossing movie.
Okay.
Yep. However,
So while he's looking at that,
yeah, it's the highest grossing movie of all time from Blumhouse.
Okay.
Mhm.
See.
so recommend.
I would honestly say you could probably skip this one.
It's okay.
If you
You're
want to
gonna
just
be
throw
honest. You're
something, if you
entitled
want to just throw something on in the background, there's not too much you have to pay attention to in the story, so you can just kind of throw this on the background. But you're not going to be like interrupted. Like you're not going to catch the corner of your eye with a good scare. It's just going to kind of happen.
I say I recommend as an intro level horror. I just found out my nephew watched this. He didn't even tell me, and I was like, bro, like you realize I'm the only person who would want to talk about this with. Yeah, so, but he seemed to have liked it, and then I feel like even if for people who are not like super into horror, this kind of is their gateway. This is them.
Yeah.
So this is what's gonna get more people
This is
watching
the
horror.
baby gate horror.
Even I didn't
Yeah.
say into horror games itself. It's same thing.
Yeah. Oh no.
Like,
Yeah.
If you were interested in this, you were like, oh, like well, like let me try the game. I feel like the game is gonna be more effective at scaring you,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Most
mostly the
definitely.
jump scare aspect of the games.
Of course.
Especially
At
that
least
first
from what I
one.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's true.
All right, and Leo.
I mean, for the most part, it's just, yeah, I would say the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you heard the question.
It's all good.
Would you recommend this movie?
Oh, I thought you meant like, what did you recommend the game or the? Because I was looking right here and it's like, so,
I know, Leo. I know.
yeah, I would, I really would.
I think it's
Alright.
one of those like, oh, if it's on, watch it. But I don't
Yeah.
like.
I agree with that.
If I was like, oh, it's on YouTube for $3, I was like, I'm gonna save the $3.
I'm gonna just
And-
wait till it's on, you know,
For free.
on Tubi.
Yeah.
So all good before we move on to the next topic?
Huh?
I wasn't sure if you wanted to mention anything else before we move on.
No, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Are you guys tired of hearing me talk? Because it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah.
We got to start breaking down this movie. So
All
our
right.
main character, Mike, has some childhood trauma from his little brother being kidnapped. And that's not like I said, this is a review portion. This is actual run through the movie. And this is,
Spoilers from
Pretty
this point
much.
on.
I feel like that's not much of a spoiler, but yes,
spoilers, yeah.
you're correct. It's all spoilers
It
going
is.
forward. So, brother gets kidnapped. He starts practicing how to elusive dream because he wants to hopefully remember the face of the person that kidnapped his brother in that moment. Then he gets, because of his trauma, he gets into some trouble. He tries to save a little kid who's getting kind of pulled by their arm, thinking that is someone kidnapping the kid, and ends up being just a unruly, not even unruly child, it's just a dick dad. Just kind of like,
We've been
go.
at the mall for 20 minutes already. We're leaving.
And he goes full ballistics and
He's
just
kidnapping him.
He starts stalking the dad out.
that's pretty good.
Dude, he's-
That's at the like that was our like tone setter of like what to expect. Then he can't find a job anywhere, and he goes to a temp agency, starts looking for work. He found
Shaggy.
yeah, we
Shaggy.
get Matthew
much
Miller,
Shaggy,
Shaggy, as what?
Just going up to Shaggy for a job.
Like you need a job scope.
I didn't get a chance to meet him the last time I had a chance, but from what I know,
That's on
he's
you.
a pretty cool dude. Like,
Oh, we
Yeah,
saw him
definitely.
from far.
yeah, I saw him from a distance, but his line was
Far.
like outside the convention center.
I was like, that's good enough for me. Like, I saw
Yeah.
him from far. I was like, that's cool. He's in the same room.
No,
All right,
he's-
we can go.
honestly, I think he's just gonna skyrocket in popularity after this because
Well, of course.
he did a great job in the movie.
This
So,
might be his Josh Brolin Thanos. You know?
yeah,
oh
honestly,
shit, maybe.
because especially with our younger audiences.
Because he's just gonna keep playing. Yeah, because he's just gonna keep playing this character, alive or dead. I feel like.
So as we continue, we're gonna. So he gets a job
Mm-hmm.
working at Five Nights at Freddy's. Little child. Well, how do you?
Please,
What do you?
it's called Freddy's.
Freddy's
Fazbear's
Pizzeria.
Pizzeria.
Yeah, fast
Thank
paced.
you. All right, slap me.
Don't tempt me. Don't
Do
tempt
it.
me.
We'll
Do
do
it.
it.
There you go. I was off camera. Sorry, guys. Freddy Fazbear's. What do you call a place like Chuck E. Cheese? Do you call it a playhouse?
pizzeria.
A pizzeria.
Pizzeria.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's like
Maybe
I
An
don't know. As a,
arcade pizzeria
Yeah.
or like.
all right,
yeah.
pizzeria. So
it's pretty much a pizzeria.
I-
It's an arcade with pizza.
I was having a hard time
yeah.
picking a name, but yeah, pizzeria is proper.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Well, the whole like Freddy's Fazbear Pizzeria is owned by a company called Fazbear Entertainment, and so they work on entertainment like with the animatronics and such. So that's kind of their thing, just entertainment. That's what
pretty
they're
much.
for.
So he has to work a graveyard shift as a security guard. He has to protect the place.
I mean, he was against it because he was like, "Oh, I can't work nights," because he's like, "I gotta be on my like dream high."
Because he's responsible for his little sister.
I have to take
That,
care of
and
a
then
kid.
also he's trying to
A lucid dream.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I didn't, for some reason didn't catch that. That's probably a good
I
point.
didn't even catch that at all. I was like, I thought he was trying to avoid
I
that.
was also sleeping during the movie.
Me and him
It
both.
seemed like he only slept on the job though, and he
Oh,
just
dude,
didn't
That's
take
what I
it
was
back
like.
home.
I was like, this guy sucks at his job.
Yeah, just
Even
like
before, like, everything got vandalized.
he was sleeping during the job, I was sleeping during the movie. No, I'm just kidding.
So as the story progresses, I'm gonna hit the main story beats, but like I said, there's a bunch of videos just breaking down this entire movie.
Of course.
So he works a security job. Things start being a little weird. His dreams start having 5 children inside the dreams that he was never were there before. And he's like, "Did you guys see what happened?" They're like, "F
No,
off."
I just got here, man. What are you talking about? 5 kids appear in a dream, like, help me find my brother.
And as I said in the synopsis earlier, we find out that the children are possessing the animatronics that are there. And the reason that Freddy Fazbear's had shut down was because 5
Kids kept
children
going missing.
Yeah, 5 children had gone missing. They had this like weird 80s montage like portion.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That was funny.
yeah.
Yeah. So then from there, I don't know. I don't feel the need to have to explain Vanessa and everything because I feel like we're gonna talk about that later. So from there, shit's just slowly hitting the fan. People try to vandalize the place while he's not there to make a point to him. They all get murked, and it's pretty fun to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like most entertaining part was that, and then I was like, I don't know where this movie's going from here.
I'm not gonna lie, I was rooting for the animatronics. Like my girlfriend was scared, just like she thought the animatronics were like the enemy, and I was like, these guys are vandalizing the pizzeria. Like I'm so rooting for
That's
the
no, and
animatronics.
that's what I told him too.
Dude, Freddy and his friends are defending their
Yeah,
home.
that's literally their home. Like
Because who said that, Bobby? You said it's like, why are they attacking them, right?
Yeah, because they're like,
Yeah, and I was like, because they're destroying their home, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm with them, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm 100%
It
with them.
basically became like don't look for like that like 5-minute montage.
and then from there, there's a police
Oh, no,
officer.
don't breathe. That's what it's called.
There's a police
Oh,
officer
yeah.
that
I hate it.
there's a police officer that comes to visit the
That's
pizzeria at night. We don't really understand why until later in the film, and then he brings his sister because he loses a babysitter, and because he brought his sister to work.
To be fair, he lost half of a babysitter.
Yeah, he did.
he lost the full babysitter just in half.
Just in
you
2
know?
parts, yeah.
So because he doesn't have a babysitter, he brings her with him, and then the animatronics want to keep her. They want her to stay.
Yeah.
They want to make them one of them, make her one of them. So that's where the conflict starts off, or I guess kicks off to this like high point, because then he's trying to defend his sister, and then we get the big reveal that again, if you want to watch it, sounds interesting. Now watch it before I say this. We find out that Matthew Miller's Shaggy's character is Michael Afton.
He was
William
behind the
Afton.
whole
William
thing.
William
The
Afton,
whole
sorry.
thing.
William Afton.
See, that's why you're here.
Michael's his brother.
Imagine how
So he
stupid that
was-
would have been.
He was behind the
Mike-
whole thing all the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically he was at the temp agency, he was looking for a job. He recognized his last name as one of the kids he kidnapped,
Oh
Right?
yeah.
and then he's like, "Oh, hey, you know what? I do have a job for you." So he was basically going to finish what he started.
He wanted to finish off the rest of the family,
Yeah.
and which like complete the set, which is
And the fact that he brought
really
his sister,
jacked up. Yeah,
the fact he brought his sister, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah.
Um,
Say what you will about Matthew Lillard, he gets his, he works smart.
He's very productive. He's
very productive.
Yep.
Cars.
good job,
Hardworking
guys.
man.
Thank you for clarifying. that. You're right though. We should be giving full credit where credit's due. But I wanted to run through the story as quickly as possible. So we still have some time, so I'm not going to hard cut here. We're just going to keep going and talk about the game now.
Real,
Okay.
real quick,
Oh, Lord.
because you might know this. So the character's name was Vanessa, so she played William Afton's daughter in the movie.
Yeah.
Does he actually have a daughter within the games?
He does have a daughter.
Is
Yeah,
is that her
You know
name?
what's funny? His first child's name is Michael. It's Michael.
That's
Afton.
what threw me off. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
In the game.
No,
You
no,
got lucky.
no. When watching
Yeah.
the movie,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, it's his son."
So,
And then as the story progresses, like, oh no, it's not. And it was like they flip things around just to throw people off who played the games or know the story, which was a cool like. I love that.
yeah,
That was
like,
really
they
fun.
just kind of changed it
subversion.
up. And so Michael or William has 3 children in the story, and it's like how
This is all video game lore
yeah,
portion.
video game lore. So he has Michael as his firstborn, and then he has Elizabeth as his second, which is the daughter. And then the youngest, it's we don't really get too much of him. All we know, we call him the crying
The
child.
crying child, yeah.
And many people think
Kids,
he's
man.
Gregory from Security Breach.
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna say, So I was gonna say, was the character in the movie Vanessa? Is she a reference to Security Breach?
Yes.
So Vanessa is in Security Breach, and that's when she's introduced in the whole series.
Okay, because I was like, I don't know anything about the lore, but I knew from a viral sound of
Vanessa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
Oh
material
yeah.
That's that basically shows my knowledge of Five Nights.
I'm thinking about it. We're gonna talk a little bit, and then we'll pause, and then we'll continue talking because it can go a tangent real quick. I
Yeah,
just
very
as
far,
I started,
dude, very far.
so the best way I can describe the video game's lore is that it's the same concept. These children have disappeared, and the animatronics are given life by the very first victim, the puppet, which is like the puppet animatronic that hasn't been introduced yet.
Which,
Didn't the no? It was like the little girl, right?
Yeah, so the
she
little
made
girl-
a
Go for
cameo
it.
in this movie.
it's the little girl's supposed to be like the partner of William. So William's supposed to have a partner. And he talks about it like I think they mentioned in the movie. Some theory is that Michael in this movie, Michael Schmidt, is actually the son of like the partner of William.
Yeah, that they did.
Huh.
They swapped the roles. So like, William had 3 children, but instead they gave it to his partner.
Yeah. So
And
in the
then-
games he's called Henry, but in the movies they didn't give him a name yet.
Yeah, they just
Okay.
made him kept him nameless. And you notice that the main character's parents are just like nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
They might build into that in the sequel. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
it's
like, what
exciting
his
to see.
parents, you know, like
one of my least favorite parts of the movie ends up being potentially a cool thing for a sequel, but I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So video game lore.
Real quick before video game lore, I was looking for a shirt to wear to the podcast. I could not find anything.
You go to Hot Topic. Hot
there
Topic.
you go.
Hot Topic.
Yeah,
I was like Hot Topic or
Spencer's.
GameStop.
Hot Topic and Spencer's are probably.
Honestly,
the
I was
biggest
just gonna show up naked with a bib. And I was like, that would be fine. But
I'm Chica.
Yeah, exactly.
cosplay.
Just
Got a
with a
cupcake?
cupcake, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Like, I had a cupcake, but I ate it.
I think I'm gonna let you because I'm afraid of messing it up. So I'll let you
okay.
talk about the video game lore.
In the
Lord.
next segment.
So for the first game, because we're only gonna run down the first 3 games, because if we go any further, it's gonna be ridiculously long.
You guys want to see our 8-hour video?
The first game, basically you're a security guard. You hear a gentleman on the phone give you instruction to maintain power. You have to try to manage your resource and keep the animatronics from catching you and stuffing you into another animatronic.
I
and
remember
killing
that
you.
from the
That's
first game.
That's the
Yeah.
very first game.
That's-
And the premise of that is that, to give you some lore, is that the person who murdered the children was a security guard. The William Apton in the game was a security guard in those moments. So they attacked the player, Michael. It's actually the same name as the character in the movie.
Yeah. So they thought he was him?
any security guard they just attack because they're malicious spirits at this point. So that's the premise of the first game. So then I'm gonna let you explain the
So
second one because you know
the
way
ghost
better
children
than me.
is like an actual thing?
Yes,
They are.
everything is exact. The ghost children concept, all that's exact.
But what's interesting is that in the movie they really explored the whole ghost aspect of the children. In the games, they're just like, oh yeah, they're ghost
They're
children.
just,
Yeah,
they're
they're
just,
And
they're
they're
just,
That's
just-
the easy answer.
they're in the suits and they're going crazy. You know, like
Yeah.
that's.
I always thought they were just
Pretty
like actual,
self-forward.
just like
Yeah.
evil animatronics.
So did I. I was like they're just, you know, like robots that are built to kill people.
yeah, that's
So
why.
in the game, they're actually ghost kids.
yes,
Yeah, no, in the game,
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's
exact.
Wild
they're
stuff.
straight up bodies, like, and I,
it's trapped inside them.
like
Oh, that's
little
crazy,
kids' bodies
okay.
are still in the suits, so that's why it's so
Think
funny.
of the smell.
But
yeah, no, that's
that's
mentioned.
That's mentioned. Like
They ooze.
in the first game on the phone guy's like, he's like, yeah, the customers have been complaining about the smells of the animatronics, and like we can't get rid of the smell. It's because there's bodies like decomposing in the suits,
That's
Yeah.
You
crazy.
think they'd run like maintenance?
and that's
That the
dude,
person running maintenance is
No, fair.
William
yeah,
Apton.
it's William Afton. He's like saying everything's good.
Febreze.
And it's funny because they also say like the police like search the whole building except for inside the suits.
Like, well, why would they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like,
so
what are you
yeah.
gonna find in there? A dead
Yeah.
body?
and so that the first game is such a unique, like, we'll talk about this later,
Yeah.
but it's such a unique thing where it was just like a simple concept. manage your resources, survive the night. Five Nights at Freddy's. You know.
Yeah.
So then,
That's why they call it that.
yeah.
I know.
But yeah, so then from there they stack on this lore, and that's where this franchise just explodes as a game franchise. So again, you know it better than me, so go ahead and do 2 and 3.
So, second game it's a prequel to the first one, and I think it's supposed to be like 20 years in the past, and it's supposed to be like this company at this point is kind of, I think, more in the peak of the twilight of its like whole career, because at this point there's already been, I think, kids' heads been bit by animatronics, kids have gone
They
missing.
malfunctioned,
Yeah,
right?
they've
Right,
been
yeah.
malfunctioning, and so at this point this company is like just, there are several backlash after backlash, and so throughout the game, the guys on the phone with you that's like, you know, talking you through all the nights is like, you know, like, we're shutting the place down, and then like I think on the last night he's like, dude, you're not supposed to be in there, like, survive, like, live, dude, like, and I
Nobody
think,
told me to clock out.
yeah,
I've been here 5
Hitting
nights in
OT,
a row.
dude.
and so I mean, major like points of that game is where you get real like a bunch of lore, like the gameplay is
That's so much fun, yeah,
Yeah,
because they do Easter eggs in
Yeah.
the second game, right?
some in the first game's a lot of Easter eggs, but in the second game is like where they start dropping a lot more lore in the Easter eggs.
Is that where they have the
Yeah,
mini games?
and so the mini games are like little game modes you play in between nights as like a palate cleanser for your horror. Cause
So
it's like,
nobody does their job. Like the guy in the movie, he goes to sleep. This guy's playing mini games.
pretty much, pretty much.
I mean, we've all worked night shifts, right?
Yeah.
Mostly, so it's like,
But, like,
Mostly.
you got to keep yourself busy.
Each mini game is revealing lore. Like
Yeah.
you see the first child that gets kidnapped, and he gets it's a child. It's a child crying outside of the pizzeria.
Yeah, it's the partner's daughter that got locked out by like
Yeah. So you see her crying outside, and then you see someone in purple, you know, say, "Oh,
Yeah.
take her
Yeah.
to a car,"
So,
and then they drive off.
I
And
don't
it's
think they really mention it in the movie, but so in the video games, before William Afton had a name, he was always like
The purple man.
purple guy.
Yeah.
purple
yeah,
guy.
for a
So
long
It
time.
was always the purple guy, and so what was cool in the movie is that there's a lot of purple, and then obviously you're watching the movie, and like I know you guys weren't.
Oh,
didn't
there's a
know
lot of
about
purple,
this
like
stuff.
themes. In
He has a
here?
lot. His tie
Yeah,
was
isn't it?
purple.
Oh,
He had
no shit.
the pictures around
It was pretty-
Trap in the movie were all like some of them were purple, like surrounding him, and then in the beginning opening of the credits, it was funny. They as they reveal Springtrap in like the arcade like mode of like the opening credits, it says
Right.
like Matthew Lillard.
Oh my god.
I didn't catch
So-
that.
See, that's a pretty. That's
good.
cool.
Those
That's
are
some
good.
cool
That's really cool.
foreshadowing. Yeah, that's pretty cool foreshadowing.
They also had, I think they had like a rabbit's foot on his desk, and then his name is Steve Raglan, and like when he's like the what do you want to call him, the job
The
tenant.
temp guy.
The temp guy.
And so it's an anagram for, I guess, everlasting, because
What?
William Afton doesn't die. He always comes back. And
Yeah.
he says that in the
Yeah,
movie.
he
he's
says
like,
in the movie, yeah, he always come back.
And the reason why he doesn't die is because Golden Freddy is I think one of the first.
Right.
Or-
That's what I
Yeah,
found
and
too.
So he/she, it's like a controversy in itself.
like
Is
they,
a vengeful ass spirit. Like this dude does not want William to die, and he keeps him alive. So every time William
God.
gets burnt, sliced
Stabs,
up,
Yeah.
the idea of like the way he and it's not even he killed this child, and they don't even know who it is. Like that's how bad, like how like that's why this spirit is so vengeful, because it's like this child's been forgotten
Yeah.
because of this, and it's awful. And I love how like that horror aspect is good. It's good stuff. Yeah. Makes me feel.
Real quick, and as far as the movie for the animatronics, do you feel like each of them had their own unique personality, or do you
Oh,
feel like
of
they were
course.
kind of
Yeah,
like
they did a really good
each
job.
one definitely had their own personality. I think people had like a theory. It was more of, they didn't really confirm it, but like if you pay attention to each one of the personalities of the animatronics, it was kind of more or less like how they died as a child. And so
Ah.
Foxy, you see him running around running around the most, and it's because
Energetic kid.
he ran away. He was running away from William as he killed him. And so I think Bonnie, they said he was like the most aggressive one in the movie, and it's because he died like actually like trying to fight back William.
And so another
And then
Okay.
Chica was probably like docile because she was just kind of like.
She died while
around.
eating a cupcake.
I forgot
No,
what
the
Chica
cupcake
was.
died while being a cupcake, and then possessed the cupcake robot.
the one of the cool like Easter eggs that were in the movie that I caught pretty early was that when they first break into the pizzeria, the first animatronic to move was Bonnie, and Bonnie, since he's the most aggressive one, is always the first animatronic to move in the game. So he's the first one that disappears,
okay.
and he usually is hiding in the closet, like where we had, like when
Yeah.
you look into the cameras. So the one he walks when one of the vandalizers hides away in the closet. Bonnie's already in there, and I was like, that was a fun like, like
That's for the fans.
That's straight for the fans, and I'm like, I'm not
I
even
can
the biggest
appreciate
FNAF
that.
fan, but
Yeah,
I
I
was like,
can
that's
appreciate
sick.
Yeah.
All right, so then third game,
Third game is it's like pushed all the way into the future, and it's pretty much at this point William, he got trapped in the spring Bonnie suit.
the way the movie
The
ended.
way the movie ended.
Well, in the games, I think they showed you in the third one. The four main spirit or the five main spirits, I think it's like 4 or 5 of them. They corner William into like a corner, and he like forces himself to get in the suit because like they're afraid of it. But since his building was so run down and broken, the rain like activated the spring traps, and so in the little like mini game mode, they show like William like bleeding out on the floor, like
trying to crawl.
Yeah.
Like get a justifiable
and so
death.
he had like a different like spring locking scene in the movie, but
the third game is the one where they implement facial recognition, right? For the cameras.
I think it's the second one.
That's the second game. Okay, so because these kids were like disappearing, they wanted the animatronics to have a camera to recognize potential threats. Someone they could run like your ID or something. So basically, these kids won't be disappearing.
Yeah.
So the way William got around that was by wearing the bunny suit, because they recognized him as an animatronic, not as a threat. So and they had all these recordings and stuff. So that's the idea that he goes into this.
Was that the game where you can wear a mask?
Oh, the second one. Yeah, that was the second
one.
one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in the second one, they had you wear the mask, and he explained it was that like if they see you wearing the mask, they think you're an animatronic.
Yeah, they think you're one of
and
them.
so there was a lot of like old YouTube like the YouTube funny moments where people were like, "Oh, it's so funny when Freddy shows up and there's just a dude wearing a Freddy mask right there." You know? So like, and then Freddy's like, "Oh, that's Freddy. We're all good." And then just walks away. Yeah.
I'm seeing double. 2 Freddys.
No.
So the third game, how does the third game end?
So the third game, it's actually Michael, William's son, who's a security guard, and his goal is to like burn down the place, and it becomes a horror attraction, like the pizzeria. Like at this point, this company is known to be like a child killer, pretty much, and so like all the animatronics were burnt and like amalgamated into like pieces of junk that like they turned into a horror attraction. But secretly, William had been rotting in the back of the place
The entire time.
The entire
Of
time.
course.
And so after like the second or third night, I think it's when they literally the only jump scare in the third game is Springtrap. There's other jump scare that can kill you. There's other jump scares that scare you, and they're supposed to like get you like freaking discombobulated, like you're panicking at
Get your
point.
heart rate going.
Yeah.
Literally, like it gets you pretty good, and you gotta like reset your systems. But
It actually like blacks out your system, right? In the game,
like you
literally have to reset everything in the game as you're doing it.
Like Springtrap is slowly like working his way through your office, and there's no door to shut this time, like the last game, and so William could just like walk right in.
So you have to manage everything like perfectly to survive.
But pretty much it just ends with Michael succeeding in burning the place down, but William doesn't die, so he comes back, you know.
And then if you were to break down the rest of the games, there's a whole other like 4,
Literally,
5, 7, 8 chapters.
The premises is find more lore, kill William again, just for him to come back the next game.
So since they burned down the place in the third game, is that why all the animatronics are all more run down than the other ones?
You know, it's crazy because once we go into the fourth game, I think it's like a prequel to like the third game, so you have to like bounce back.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So like and that's the thing, throughout all the years of the fandom, we couldn't even get the timeline right for the games. Like there's very little dates.
Game 3 has like crazy videos just explaining the timeline. I used to listen to them while I was like working out, just to be like, so I kind of understand the story.
Yeah.
But like, there's so much more that we're not going to go into, but that's just scratching the surface to see what inspired what's coming. Like, this movie took pieces from all 3 games, combined them, and then took like a character from a future game, I'm guessing because that was just the most recent game.
Yeah.
And implemented that story.
Gotta get that like name recognition.
Yeah.
Recency bias.
But
the younger.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we'll stop there, and then now the rest of it's just going to be us talking, and we'll probably close out the rest of this video. So we'll be back right now.
Okay. All right, so I believe we're gonna start with something that we really liked about the movie.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna do something called a compliment sandwich.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna say something nice about the movie,
Okay.
something you think it can improve
Okay.
on, and
then we're gonna put
something
some
else
hate
nice.
spread on it.
Okay.
extra sauce.
extra hate
Something I
sauce.
really
No.
loved about the movie was how I loved when the animatronics were good. They really showed the personality of children. Like they're still children at the end of the day, and it's like they're building forts. They were still performing their song. Like I thought it was so funny. Like even when they're supposed to be evil in the movie, they're still playing through their song. It's like mind
They're like, "Wow, we already kidnapped Abby. Like, let's just what do we do now? Like, we'll just play her song."
They just kept going.
Nah, you bring up a good point. Those animatronics are beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
god,
They were too beautiful.
Yeah, but that's I think that's gonna be a factor as the movies progress,
Yeah.
as they decay. Because I remember when we were watching, you're like, what's off about them? I think they're too clean.
They look too good.
They look too
No,
good.
yeah, you
Yeah.
said that's like it's like
Is that what
they're-
we
they're
watched?
I was
too
watching
clean,
it. I was like,
yeah.
it was like a fever dream.
It's funny.
It looked like somebody photoshopped the animatronic
Bonnie,
into the
Bonnie, like in the movie, it looks so purple, but like in person, because at last Hollywood Horror Nights I went, and they had the animatronics in person. They had like a whole Blumhouse like
like a Blumhouse like
a Blumhouse
That's
like
so
showcase.
cool. Yeah, that's
And they
super
had
cool.
like the Megan doll. They had so many like props from their movies. And
You got
the
photos?
I do have photos.
We're gonna need
I
those
actually
photos.
got photos. Bonnie looks blue, and it's been in the second game he's blue, and it's just always been it's funny because like his color has been so inconsistent in all the games.
Yeah.
And so it's funny how they somehow continued it with the movie. You know, it's just all those little things.
Yeah.
The
I can send you the pictures.
Yeah, we'll get
Yeah.
the pictures. We'll put them up on screen.
So don't worry, it'll be in this segment right here. And then Leo, favorite part about the movie?
I mean, I would say probably the practical effects. You know, obviously specifically the animatronics. Like they could have just easily gone the CGI route, but you can tell like, I would say about 100% of the time they were just mostly animatronics.
You were the one
Except
that
when
pointed-
they were in costume.
Yeah, you pointed out
Except-
like, oh, they're
Yeah.
probably in costume in this
when
moment.
they're moving, like when their feet are moving, there is somebody in costume. But when they're standing still and there's shots of them just like, you know, looking or having their mouths open or blinking, anything like that, that's all animatronic. But it's still pretty cool. You know,
Yeah,
like it's
super
completely
cool.
practical and all that.
Before we started recording, we were talking about Jacob and I were talking about the Foxy.
Oh,
Foxy.
Oh man, I was like, because that one has the least amount of like,
Articulation.
yeah, the wiring is exposed most of the time. And
Oh,
it's like-
you're right. You're
it's
right.
like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah.
that one looks so cool. Because I was rewatching the movie too beforehand. And I was like, yeah, that one's just like, wow, like what a good
And also,
job.
I mean, for such a fair, you know, decent movie, the cinematography wasn't that bad. You know, from a film perspective, they actually try to like, yeah, let's do this for the fans, but let's also, you know, this is a film.
Well, we're making a movie.
This is a film,
Art,
you know?
film.
Like, there's some really good shots
Martin
in the movie.
Scorsese's gonna see this.
It's a lot of good lighting, especially when
Definitely.
that night when the lights inside the pizzeria are going off, you're seeing purple, red, blue, like the lights in the characters' faces. You have like some red hue here, blue hue there. So, and the lighting department really just shot it out of the park as well.
What did you like about the movie, Raymond?
He stole my answer. What are you talking about? I was like, he stole my answer.
That's crazy.
No, I really liked how much of a like fever dream this movie was. 'Cause
Yeah,
I was watching it and I was like, this doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
Like even that like I don't know anything about like Five Nights at Freddy's. Like I'm watching this movie and I was like, I feel like this is something I would dream of.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching a movie
Mhm.
and wake up and
Yeah.
find out like it never happened.
I think it's maybe because of all the dream theory at the beginning.
Yeah, maybe.
Honestly, yeah,
That
like
part
that-
where
that-
in the
Oh,
head.
that
Hey.
lucid dreaming.
That fort building part though was like, what am I like?
Oh, yeah,
where are we
because
going with this
during-
movie?
during
I
that
was laughing.
scene-
Yeah, I was laughing so hard during that scene, and then Bobby and you're like, "What's going on?
Yeah.
Aren't they supposed to be evil?"
Yeah, because the invaders all die,
Yeah.
and then he takes his little sister to the pizzeria, and then she's gone, and they're like, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, is he just gonna try and get her back for the rest of the movie? And then they start building a fort. I was like, I don't know what's happening in this movie anymore.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the like the 30 minutes of horror. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like to start the movie and like the building was like, it was like build up to like all the horror was like okay, and then they started getting to like them killing the intruders. And then after that, once we find out they're all good and they're like their kids under there, we're just like, all right, bro, like what's happening now?
you might know if this is true or not. This is just something I heard, that the original night guard at the beginning of the film was supposed to be Markiplier.
Yes, I heard.
It was.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
he couldn't do it because he
Oh.
had scheduling conflicts with his own movie, which
Yeah.
I think is called Iron Lung.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Iron Lung. That's what it
We were
was.
trying to remember it
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Which they're still shooting, man. The movie's
Yeah.
been in production for like what 2 years
I
already.
mean,
Dude, it's a long
Markiplier's a
time.
badass though. He's gonna get it
Oh
done.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Markiplier is the reason why I watched or know any started watching Five Nights at Freddy's stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
His
yeah.
buttery
He's
smooth
one of
voice.
the
Technically
forefathers.
attribute, yeah, you could technically attribute him to
They-
some of the popularity of this game.
They
Yeah.
had part of their Mount Rushmore with Game Theory and Corey Kenshin. If you guys know, he was the
Oh
cab
yeah,
driver.
yeah.
So those guys were like forefathers. And then
I saw him in the movie, and I was like, oh, he's probably like a YouTuber. And then the credits went through, and they just had his username. I was like, okay, he's definitely a YouTuber.
I know. Same here. Like I didn't know much about the cameos, right? But it's like for some reason I didn't catch the diner cameo. Like you
Oh, yeah.
caught
That was
that.
super
Yeah,
obvious.
yeah.
I
He
died.
literally said that's a theory.
I know. Yeah, I know.
He looked at the
It
camera
was-
and plugged his YouTube channel.
it
on.
was
I know.
it was sad because when like the whole movie was coming out and when it like fully released and it was before we were released. Matt went on to like a video saying how like he's not in the movie and he was getting really emotional. He's like, I feel like I deserve to be in that movie. And so all his fans were like,
Mark.
Like that's
No,
Matt
Matt
Pack.
Pack.
Matt
Oh,
Pack,
Game
Game
Theory.
Theory.
I see.
And so all of his fans were like, damn, like
That's
dude,
fucked up.
They
Yeah.
fucked up, man. Like this is one of our
Yeah.
guys. Like that. Now we don't even know like how good this movie's gonna be.
Exactly.
And then
yeah.
when we saw him in the movie, we were like, oh, dude, he was.
he bamboozled us.
Yeah, he got us. He got us.
Because I was looking through, because I wanted to see some concepts beforehand, of like what people were thinking and theorizing. So he literally had a video titled, "Yeah, sorry, I lied." Like, it was like, my secret's out. I was in the movie, but he knew everything that was gonna happen. So to avoid issues with like spoiling, because he has to theorize, otherwise it gives it away.
Well, yeah.
He had the person because he just retired. The person he
Yeah.
mentored to take his place,
Mm-hmm.
he had him to know anything about the script theorize from the trailer,
Yeah.
and he just read it off as the theory. I was like, that's pretty smart.
That's
He's
pretty
a,
smart,
He's
yeah.
a super smart dude. So
Yeah.
that's his whole.
And he
channel.
played it off pretty well. I mean,
Yeah, he
without
did.
like
He definitely got all of
snapping
us.
or anything or like breaking character, you know.
What's his wife's name?
Oh,
Stephanie, I think.
Yeah, I just know that she's also a big contributing factor.
Yeah.
So shout out to her as well.
Yeah, dude, she's behind the scenes for all of his stuff, and she definitely helped.
Yeah.
him a lot.
The
So
before we continue on, but like for me, the people who I watched were like Uber Hackster Nova, Immortal. Those are all the people I saw playing Five Nights. PewDiePie I watched a little bit of, but Markiplier was a big one. And then I would always listen to Game Theory about just the lore because I guess I love horror. So all right, things you disliked about the movie. I
Shout out
think
Uber Hacks Nova.
yeah,
Missed that guy.
Yeah, I
Me
know, me
too.
too.
the
Rest in
cow
peace,
chop.
Balloon Shop.
Shouldn't worry, cow chop.
Cow
shit.
chop, yeah.
Cow Shop, yeah.
Rest in peace, Gold Squiggly.
He actually watched that, so it's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
I did.
Cow Chop?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's great.
He watched it in grade school. That's how old we are.
Oh my god.
Things we disliked about the movie. For me, that's that really bad hard cut away from Mike about to die, and then he's just saved. They're like, oh yeah,
All good.
yeah, Vanessa saved you. Vanessa, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, yeah, she saved you off camera, and you're like, how? You were literally about to die.
But you know what happened though, right? It was 6:00.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Shit.
dude.
You know, we're like, bing.
Amateur
Yeah.
It's
just
like, you know.
hit the reset, just walk right back.
That was my least favorite part of the movie. That took me out of you pointed because you're like, Bob, was that disappointing? I was like, yeah, that was
yeah,
horrible.
Yeah.
After watching some theory videos, I was like, okay, it seems like maybe they might show what happened in that scene in another movie, but that does
I
that
doubt it.
weakens this movie by having that in it
Yeah.
as a standalone movie, which obviously they're gonna make a 3 franchise film series. So I was like, okay, but this just hurts it as a standalone though. If this was a solo, so that's my least favorite portion of the movie, hands down. For you guys, I stole your answers.
All
Right?
of them. Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
Yes.
Just go ahead.
I'll go. So I feel like this is a major issue
So I
when
feel like this movie was perfect, and I have no notes.
when Golden
Wallace.
Freddy went to their house and killed the ant, and then Mike and Abby were just like so fine after. I'm like, did they not just find their dead ant on the floor? And like, no,
Well, I mean, yeah, but you notice how much they hated their aunt.
No,
you know?
for
So
sure.
it's like, I don't, you know.
I was like,
But
was she
like,
really
think of the
evil?
clean-
Like,
she wasn't evil, but she definitely smelled like cigarettes. You know?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
she
is
deserved
to
close
die.
enough. That's close enough to evil.
I don't know if she's in the books or not. She's not in the
Uh,
games.
I don't think they really explored like much of the like
No, yeah, her
outside
specifically.
family.
I think they were just kind of like, oh, we need a reason why he wants to protect his sister or something.
For horror movie tropes, they definitely try to have us have characters to dislike to kill.
Mhm, for
Because
sure.
not only is this like a young teen, young adult, like the target audience is also kids who love FNAFs and can still enjoy this without being like too traumatized.
Yeah.
I feel like they very made it easy for like, yeah, this person sucks. Let's watch them die.
I feel like there wasn't.
Yeah, everybody's
enough.
gonna be okay with it.
I
You
feel
know?
like it was just like
4 deaths on screen technically.
because it was just
Oh, I
the
guess
on
you
being
were
like,
watching.
hey, like get my nephew fired so I can get this kid and get the money for it.
Oh, fun fact! They released a book about the movie that gave more lore to the movie.
Oh, yeah, that's what they do.
Well, it's a Five Nights, so you gotta release more lore.
Yeah.
I found it out
Of
right
course.
before recording. It was so they broke down like
Was it called like Five Nights Freddy's the movie, the
I don't know.
novelization,
It
Novelization motion picture.
motion picture?
But it's
with
basically like
pictures.
it goes through the story beats, but then it also breaks things down into more detail of what people were thinking. Apparently, the girl that betrayed him what was her name, Rebecca or something? The babysitter that died.
Yeah.
Apparently had a crush on him, and it was hinted at because she was looking at the wedding ring on the
Well, yeah,
on the
yeah,
TV.
isn't that what she was talking about though? She was
Yeah, she's like, oh, I wish somebody would buy me a ring.
Yeah, so I'm surprised you
Oh,
remember
yeah.
that. I went over my head.
I
And he
missed
was
that
like,
100%.
look, man, I'm not even paying you.
That's how you know you've been married to long.
Yeah.
you caught that. I would not.
I didn't even watch a recap before we started.
I watched two.
He watched too.
I was on it all day watching. I watched the movie and then I watched
my
all
God.
the reaction channels of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's like 10 out of 10.
I loved it.
So then what can we talk about next? You want to talk about some of the
Bunch of
cool stuff
facts.
in the games? Like
Oh, the game.
Oh, actually,
I
no,
was
talk
gonna
about the
say,
facts.
I have a bunch of fun facts.
Yeah, go for
I
it.
took the
Yeah.
time. So I don't know if did you watch Obi-Wan Kenobi, like the TV
Oh, yeah.
show?
Back
so did
and
you
forth 3
recognize
times.
that the Golden Freddy kid is Luke Skywalker? Same exact actor. You know,
Little
little
Oh,
Luke Skywalker.
shit, the little
Yeah.
kid?
Yeah, and Obi-Wan
Yeah, he told me
Kenobi.
that.
You know, like when he's like on top of this house, he's like whipping the pod racer.
Oh, I had no
That's
idea.
him.
It's because most of the time, besides the ending, he's wearing a speeder helmet. So it's like
Yeah.
you can't
Oh,
even
yeah.
really see his face until like the final thing, and it's all
It-
shot in the dark,
it
so
went
you
over
barely.
my head, and then I looked up the name, and I was like, that sounds familiar, because I like looking up the cast of like all the stuff I watch, and so I was like,
That's cool.
Was
there
that the
was
first
there was
thing you looked up?
another.
Were you just
Oh.
like, I want to know who played Golden Freddy?
whoa.
Or were you just kind of come across that?
I just recognized the name. When I recognized names, and I started looking into like everything they started playing, and then because like, his Kenobi role, obviously like his Luke role was not major that
Right,
much,
exactly.
so it was like all the way down his list. And so when I found out it was Luke, I was like, oh crap, dude! Like this guy has like Golden Freddy and Luke Skywalker under his belt already. Like,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's cool.
And, I mean, I can talk about the creator. The creator, Scott Cawthon, was obviously the mastermind behind it all. But obviously,
All I know about him is that he was in the Matt Pat retirement video.
Oh yeah,
He was basically God.
He was.
give him the lore. Tell him what's up. These guys don't know Jack. I know a lot.
I think he wanted to create Christian games, and then
Close enough.
no, he wanted to make these Christian games, and they weren't any kinds of successful, and
Like every other Christian game.
It was I think when he means by Christian, I think it's just like not
Like family friendly.
yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
Oh,
family friendly.
gotcha,
Like he
okay.
made like a cookie clicker beaver game, and people criticized because he couldn't model at all. He was pretty bad at modeling. And so I think he was like, all right, I'm just gonna like let loose and create like one last game. And so it was Five Nights at Freddy's. And I think in like the production of it all, he said that Bonnie gave him like the most nightmares out of like,
Oh my
he's
God.
the most scared of Bonnie. So in lore in the games, William Afton, so Freddy Fazbear is like not William's original character, but Bonnie was. So in the games, he's like obsessed with Bonnie. So hence the golden Bonnie suit.
yeah.
So there's just a bunch of connections like that. And then I guess I can go on with like his 2 sons. They're like, I think like 10 and 8 years old at the time the first game was made. They're the play testers.
Oh,
So he was like, every night you'd be at $20. And so the kids are like grinding it, trying to find bugs for the game. Like they're just motivated to find bugs.
I didn't know this. That's pretty cool.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. And I think the sons.
That's why you have kids, right? To put them to work.
homework, yeah.
That's what you do.
Hate chores. Keep going.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it's all you then.
Man, I think one of the more enjoyable ones was so the Matt Pat game theorist, his name was Ness in the movie as the
Waiter.
Yeah,
The
when I
waiter?
looked up the cast, I saw
Yeah,
that
so
his
his
name
name
was
was Ness. So Scott Cawthon would watch Matt Pat's like theories on YouTube, and one of the most controversial theories of game theory was he believes
Sans is Ness.
or
Ness is
Ness
Sans,
is
yeah.
Sans. And so Scott really enjoyed that theory, and so he's like, let's just make your name Ness.
Ness, yeah.
And
Do you
then-
think he ever watched game theory and he was like, that's good, I'm gonna use this for my next
I feel like he definitely watched it and definitely was like, I'm gonna avoid it just so I can mess with them even more. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
Like
Because I felt like that when Game Theories would go into detail,
He
they would
would.
look up every little
He
thing.
might have been going insane over this at this point.
Yeah,
I believe
and
it.
This is like half of his library
Oh,
of just
dude,
Five
I
Nights?
think
yeah, a good amount.
yeah.
But I remember like because I used to watch him when they debuted, and I remember he was like the creator would directly respond like, "Oh yeah, you're pretty close." He's like, "But you didn't
But
get
not
it.
even
You didn't
close.
even get it."
yeah.
It's cool that they made a relationship like over the course of time, just
Yeah.
being a fan of it, and then to see the franchise explode. Like I said, I don't think YouTube would be nowhere near as popular as it is currently if it wasn't for FNAF. Like it's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I think we got time for one more, and then we'll pause it for the last segment because I like hearing your fun facts. It's fun.
Last
Good
one,
job.
I think one of the bigger ones for us as fans was the end credit or the credit scene.
Oh
the
yeah,
song.
the after
Oh, the
credits.
song?
It was
I figured,
it was
yeah.
a fan made YouTube song.
That's what I told you.
one of
I
the
was like,
original from,
yeah.
I think like 2014, like when the first game came out.
Uh-huh.
And so all fans were like requesting like you need to put this song. It's like the Five Nights at Freddy's song, and then sure
Is
enough,
that the one Jack Black sings?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I told. Remember, because
No,
he-
I said that, and you're like,
Yeah.
"What, Jack Black?"
no, I know, because
He's
you were
wearing
like,
he's wearing like he has like Five Nights at Freddy's like sweatpants too. Like
because the whole time Raymond's like, Jack Black better appear in the movie and just start singing, you know, like, and then when the ending credits, I was
he
like, hey,
comes
there
out
you go,
as
that's
an
a song.
animatronic panda.
All right, hold that thought, and we'll be right back.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah.
okay, so I
Good.
mean I guess I'm gonna have a bunch of fun facts for this movie and
Yes, let's have fun. Keep telling us more fun
fun
stuff.
facts. Well, there's 15 directors for this movie, or 15 different scripts and 8 different directors.
I believe
Like,
it.
Oh my
dude,
gosh.
I believe that because it's like, how long was this movie in production?
Yeah.
And like,
Since the first game,
Yeah.
that's
it's
crazy.
on and off production too.
Currently,
That's
right now,
insane.
Warner Brothers has been doing like an overhaul with animation and all kinds of
I
stuff.
hate that.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
But
yeah,
and, like,
definitely.
I'm happy to hear that. What just got announced again? The multiverses.
Oh,
Multiverses.
is coming
I mean,
back.
Oh.
Yeah.
it was on beta, and then they.
But like I was afraid they were just gonna be like, that's it. We're
Yeah,
done.
that's
Like,
it. I know.
because Warner Brothers was killing everything, and Five Nights was. I was afraid that was gonna be one of them. Where it's
Still,
just
still unexcusable what they're doing with a bunch of movies.
Oh, definitely, most definitely.
Like,
like they're like locking them out permanently, like
Yeah.
from
He's
streaming.
like, "Oh, look at this Batgirl movie we made."
delete. Look at this Coyote versus Acme movie we made, and everybody says it's
Yeah.
awesome. And here's some screens from it. It looks pretty cool. Trash.
Garbage.
But
yeah.
with all that in mind, though, it's super cool to see this be so successful.
Yeah,
When
definitely.
it would have been very much one of those things they axed. Like,
Yeah,
like
and it
so-
is funny because one of the main gripes you have about the movie is that it was just such a. It could have been so much better as an R-rated movie, but if it didn't have that 13, it's like it wouldn't have been nearly as
Exactly. That's why it's
No.
like that's why I scale it differently. Because as I was watching, I was like, I technically have a lot of fun, more fun watching Willy's Wonderland, but like this is a tribute to like just a whole fandom,
Yeah.
and they did a great
Yeah.
job. It was kind of like when I watched the new Mortal Kombat. There's things I didn't like about it, but I was like, man, was I excited to watch that?
It was
I was
really
like-
fun watching in the movie theater. I had a whole group of my friends with their siblings, and I took like my girlfriend with her little
That was
brother.
an event.
Yeah, dude, we had like I think like 14 of us, and we took up a whole row. And
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
believe me, we're the loudest people. in the theater. Like,
Were you just in the middle like, that's ready,
yeah,
that's
no,
ready?
Yeah, dude.
That's the song. The song.
You're like lifting your shirt like, there he is. Sir, if you don't stop, we're gonna have to ask you to leave.
That's what he said in the Fortnite.
it was funny though because only I think like me and like my best friend were like the real like deeper fans of the franchise. So everybody
Yeah.
else, my girlfriend thought it was amusing. She thought like seeing the animatronics was funny, but everybody else was like, that movie's pretty bad. And I was like, well, did you guys play the games? And they're like, no. And I'm like, dude, you play the games, you're gonna love the movie. Like it's
It's pretty funny. When I saw it with my girlfriend, she was the only one that had the most knowledge of this movie.
yeah.
Like I knew of it, but then she's like, "Yeah, I used to play the games when I was younger," and I was like, "What?"
Badass.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, "That's cool." And then like as she's going, she's like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And I was like, "What is it?" And she's like, "Yeah, because that's the guy from the first game." And I was like, "Huh?
What?
What?"
I thought I was the guy from the first game.
So my girlfriend really loved this movie, by the way. Like she
Yeah.
she really liked it a lot, and then me, I was just kind of like, it was all right, you know, it's all right, it's enjoyable,
a
but
PG-13 Blumhouse movie, like it's about what you expect.
When
much, yeah.
it hits the exact PG-13 marks for me, so I'm like, yeah, there's only a certain level threshold it can make for me.
It was
true.
amazing seeing Jason Blum, Emma Tammy who directed the movie, and then Scott Cawthon, the creator. Like all three of them are like
Collabing.
they're
to do it.
collabing, and they're really adamant about making this like the true vision that they really see.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean I think they're successful on it. They're very successful on it.
Is the creator like really hands on with the creation of these movies? Because I know a lot of times they just kind of like
I
put him
think
in
with
the
this
back
movie,
seat.
I think for the longest time, I think it was said that this was like his last like touch or the last thing he was gonna work on for Five Nights at Freddy's. So like we thought this was like his like goodbye to us, but I think he's still gonna be in the back. But regardless, Scott Cawthon's always wanted to be like kind of there for his stuff, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean it shows in his lore.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him being hands off for the
Like a
the-
George Lucas with Star Wars.
I know, just
Yeah,
handing
I
don't
off
know
the
how that
entire
goes.
thing.
I don't
I
know how that
know.
went.
But
Yeah.
there was something about a character they named Sparky.
Oh,
I don't know
that's
too much
right.
about that. I don't know
So,
anything about that.
In the first game, there's like a little like I guess like Easter egg where there's an extra endoskeleton in the closet in the first game, and so people thought
Oh,
it
I
was like,
saw that. I saw that.
people thought it was like another animatronic without like the suit, and so people made it Sparky, and it was supposed to be a dog, and so the diner in the movie was called Sparky's Diner, and then in the animatronic room in the movie there was an actual dog animatronic that said Sparky on his name, and so everybody was just like dude, holy shit, like
They did it for us.
They literally did. That's kind of crazy that they went into that much like
Yeah.
detail just for people to be like, I know that was
Exactly.
that thing, the meme.
This is what it was. Yeah, like the Leonardo.
Yeah.
DiCaprio. I don't know. I still think the movie was like okay,
yeah,
but the more like I'm talking about it, I was like, like this is just a super cool movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
That
why-
could evolve over time
Like,
with the
if you
sequels.
guys ever want to see like all the interviews before the movie was released, Jason, Emma, and Scott, like all of them were just, or Scott didn't talk. He doesn't. That's the thing. He does not talk. He has like he says his things, and then everybody like kind of interprets what he says.
yeah.
But he's always been like in the back, with the hood on, like
He's just
For
like
real?
me.
yeah. he hasn't really been out there talking. So now that we're seeing the Matt Pat retire and Scott Cawthon's in like showing up, like this is the most he's shown his face like throughout his whole career.
I was gonna say I don't remember ever seeing his face until recently.
Yeah.
Because I remember his little icon, his little like running.
So, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
anytime anybody had to like reference Scott Cawthon and show a picture of him, it was always that like running like
Yeah.
picture of him. It was always that one.
Yeah, that's the one I think of whenever I hear his name. I'm just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently the sequel was announced.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it was-
as of right now, they are planning to start filming this summer,
Mm-hmm.
meaning with the 6-month production, probably releasing by like January of next year, which Blumhouse is known for releasing January horror movies. Exactly.
Does
So-
the second movie have a title?
No, it's just
All right, everyone, put your
thinking it caps on,
I
right?
think Sister Location, and that's the name of the fourth game.
All right, hear me out. 5 more nights at Freddy's.
No, that's
Five-
stupid.
Five more nights.
5 more nights.
Well, no, think about it,
I'm
because
not
it's
that
like
clever,
the way they incorporated the sister in the first game.
Yeah,
Would that make sense for the sequel to have that title?
I think so. The second game was really about the sister in the Afton family.
Okay.
So the Sister Location was referring to Elizabeth, who was like Circus Baby. But I think Abby being another anagram of baby, I think it might go that route.
I'm
Did the pizzeria burn down at the end of this movie?
No, it looked like it just crumbled. I think it.
Crumbled, yeah, it
Yeah,
But
crumbled.
regardless, like destroyed, right?
Oh, in the second movie, they could have the more destroyed
Yeah, no,
animatronics now. More,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the sister location makes sense because it's like, oh, like the original pizzeria is gone. Now you have the
maybe.
sister location.
Could be.
The thing is with in the games, eventually the wife of the Aftons like takes over the company, and so she eventually creates like the Pizzaplex for like that's what the mall for the 9th game.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe they might go the route of, like the wife comes out of nowhere and just makes another like Freddy location.
It's interesting because they skewed the story enough to make it like
And
more
then
original.
Mike has to get his job back as the security at the mall.
Well, the thing is that they left a lot of things open where they didn't finish finding his brother's name was Garrett, right?
Yeah,
They
Garrett.
didn't
Yeah.
finish.
They
yeah.
didn't finish
Yeah.
that. And then it was
But it was resolved within the story because he was like, oh, I'm fixated on the past, but I need to look forward to the future.
Well, here's
Yeah.
my own like theory because at the end credits.
You gotta say it right.
No.
What's your theory? Say it.
Oh,
Say
yeah.
it right.
It's my film theory.
All right, go
He
for
has
it.
a channel for that too,
Yeah,
though.
film theory.
At the end credits, it spells out "Come find me,"
Right.
and if I'm not mistaken, that's the puppet, right?
Yeah,
that's
the puppet.
and
Oh,
the puppet
you're
is his
right.
first victim. That's why I mentioned it earlier in the video, earlier in this video about the game. The very first victim is the puppet.
The puppet's creepy. The puppet is really
The
unnerving.
the puppet's the one that gave
Talk about the balloon boy.
No.
I'm gonna explain it right now. So
Okay.
like it's basically a character you haven't seen yet if you don't know the game.
Okay.
This character is the one that gave life to all the animatronics because it was his first victim. And since he killed them, he wanted to give them a way to like live on. And so I believe, and I because the way this scene was shot in the movie with Garrett being taken, I was like, I think they just made him his first victim. Like the very first instant kill.
I thought it was so funny though, like when they showed the scenes of Gary being like driven away, he just like kind of
With his
waving
with his airplane,
like not even like
Yeah,
fighting
that's
back
funny,
or
I know.
anything.
But the concept was like for the game, it was someone a child locked outside,
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
And this one is someone being abducted, basically just boom immediately. So I feel like this is the first kill, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be. I'm gonna say Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Come find me. Like that, I think that'll be the title, like something like that. I don't know.
For me, I was thinking of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the location maybe, like
Yeah.
without having the sister's location, just the location.
Okay.
That one's probably the weakest one out of all four of us.
Damn.
but-
Yeah,
It's okay.
obviously you're asking from a guy that doesn't know the
Did you
lore.
say-
What's
Mine-
yours?
Mine
Didn't
was
you
a
say,
joke,
like,
and I
5
think
more
mine was better. Yeah,
nights?
5 more nights at Freddy's.
5 more. And then the third one's an extra 5
Yeah.
nights. After.
Yeah.
He's like, the third week at Freddy's, like the probationary period is over.
Second week at
Yeah,
Freddy's.
second week at Freddy's.
Is there any other fun facts you want to rattle off before we
Oh,
we'll have to
shoot.
finish off?
I don't know. I think the humming was supposed to represent Foxy's humming in the first game, but they like made a new humming for this new Foxy in the movie.
I think I heard it where he's like,
Yeah, he's
I
like,
heard that. Remember I told you I was like, oh damn,
It
he
was
sounds
funny,
creepy.
But if you you weren't paying, you were obviously not paying attention because you don't think like Steve Raglan's the William Afton.
Yeah.
But apparently, I like kind of like you can kind of hear it, but he's like humming Foxy's theme before Mike even walks in the door. You see him in the
Oh, really?
office, he's like humming Foxy's theme.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do remember hearing about that. The now that you mention it, I lost my train of thought. William Afton, I lost it. Oh well. Damn it! I had a cool thought and I lost it because you said something that inspired it.
Couldn't have been that cool if you lost it.
You'll be surprised. Go ahead. Was goodness gracious, talk because I'm losing my mind right now.
I think I might have to whip out the notebook for this.
Pull out the notebook.
Yeah, we'll whip out the notebook.
Old fashioned.
I like writing ideas down when I'm in the moment.
All right.
So
The sound effect that from the original first
Oh.
Five Nights. What he was telling me, it was pulled from like an audio from a horror movie.
yeah,
That
like,
that sound.
Yeah.
You know what it's from?
The scream? No.
Yeah.
it was pulled from like a sound like a very cheap soundtrack that Scott had to find. I think he said I don't know if he said it, but I think the first game only costed like $60 to create. And it was just
How the fuck is that even?
it was
Because he made it himself pretty
like
much.
he literally, like it was like his like last like hurrah pretty much. And so he put
What the
all
hell?
I don't know if that's the most money
He's a
spent.
millionaire because
Oh, yeah.
like
Now,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, no, even that because it's like
It was a mobile game at one
we
point.
spent
remember?
$60 last week. Imagine that, and it's like, oh, this game gets your entire career now. You know, it's like with $60, man.
Yeah. Like if I spent $60 and then like 10 years later I was a billionaire, like yeah, that's cool.
One thing that was
crazy, man.
kind of spoiled by Matthew Miller was that he said, "Oh, I got signed on for 3 more movies." So
Oh.
a lot of people already
Yeah.
knew that he was going to be William Afton, but they still really enjoyed the ride. And that's remember I said horror movies have cliches. That's kind of the hardest thing to write a good horror movie, or make an enjoyable horror movie.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
make it a movie with like a famous fan base, so it's like, oh, it's gonna go this way. You know, like
Especially
it
a
doesn't
famous
matter.
fan base whose whole thing is like theorizing.
I
Imagine
know.
going through all the revisions, all the directors, everything. You could have very easily just ruined this movie. And the fact that it was this successful is pretty cool.
Okay, let me see if I can vaguely remember, but majority of them were totally separate from the like what the actual games were about. And like, you know, when you're talking about bad adaptations and how they like stray from the games, dude, like the first I think Scott like said like they're thinking like starting in like a robot factory and like the robots are attacking, and then like because Scott each time had to be like, no dude, this is not my
Yeah, they're
game.
like, okay, hear me out.
No, that's
So
true.
we send Freddy back in time to warn Sarah Connor.
Oh, dude, they wanted one where the animatronics were attacking Manhattan.
Oh,
Like,
fuck.
kid you not. Like that was one of the
Jason meets
Freddy
Manhattan.
takes
Yeah.
Manhattan.
Freddy, Freddy takes a bite of the Big Apple.
yeah, the bite of the Big apple.
That's good.
Dude, but yeah,
See, why can't you be this funny all the time?
Sometimes when I feel like it.
yeah, it was definitely a dream come true for at least the FNAF fans.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Badass.
Dream come
And yeah, and like I said, as like a non-fanatic, I felt that love and joy from the movie. You know,
Yeah. Then
I was
after
like-
talking about all this, I'm just like, man, this was a good movie for like if you're into the series,
Dude,
this is a
it
super
was-
good movie.
It was literally watching like No Way Home if you're a Spider-Man fan.
I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the reactions like on TikTok? Where like I've seen some TikToks where like people are reacting like kind of like Spider-Man. Remember those TikToks where people they're reacting to the Spider-Man and all that. Same thing, but with Freddy. Like they were reacting to like the Springtrap scene when he just
Yeah.
pulls it off and it just like crunches. Like people are just going nuts over that. The ending credit song, people were just like their popcorn was flying in the air. I was like, this is cool.
That
you
was
know?
that was like the cherry on top. We're like, all right, like, because as the movie ended, we're like, there's only one more thing left. Like, it was literally, like, at least to my friend, I was like, one more thing for the perfect movie, and like it happened. I was like, that was it. Like,
yeah,
that's all
see,
we
yeah,
needed.
exactly. As a fan, like it's like this is like the perfect movie for you. Exactly.
Yeah.
So awesome. All right. Well, then I think we're gonna close out there unless there's anything else you want to mention.
No, I think.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna try to have this listen to chapter, so hopefully you check that out beforehand, so you don't.
It's gonna
end
be
up
like watching the Snyder cut of Justice League.
I'm gonna put it all in
Like
black
chapter
and white.
one.
And then chapter 1. 91.
Other than that, you just want to shout out our Insta. Actually, Jacob, you can go first. You want to shout out any of your channel? I'll put a link, or I don't know if we can do links, but we'll do.
Yeah. I
title.
think just
I
my
can do
YouTube
links.
channel, Asozial Fives. You know,
We'll tag it up there.
yeah,
Just
if
there you
it's
go.
somewhere up here.
Yeah,
You know,
cover Freddy's face.
I do a lot of gaming, and I plan on with this podcast coming out, and my podcast, to like really start pushing out for content creation. Like it should happen soon.
All
Once
right, on.
again.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
It was
if you,
amazing, man.
if there's something you're looking forward to watching and you want to discuss it, we're probably the perfect people to talk about it.
Yeah.
We might shit on it though. Just-
Yeah, of course.
Kinda like
I-
today.
I already gave one of my recommendations for another movie for you guys. I wanted Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead.
Please, dude.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
you like Army of the
I
Dead?
To
love
be fair,
it.
we need a viewer recommendation for our next
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
I'm a big zombie guy. I think that's one thing I forgot to talk about. And Army of the Dead, I thought it was really
We
fun.
both used to be, well, us three used to be big. I don't know about you, but my love for zombie movies have died down over the years.
I think
walk-
just the quality of the zombie movies have died
Yeah,
down
no,
over the years.
definitely.
My
Like-
love for zombies is still.
I've been the most invested in zombie games, of like Dying Light.
Oh,
Left
Dying
4
Light.
Dead.
Oh, we gotta play Dying Light, dude. I would get.
The
Dying
second
Light
game.
2.
Dying Light
The
2,
second
yeah.
game?
dude.
Yeah, the second game. Oh, dude, I love it so much.
He
It's
has
so
it.
I
fun.
have it in
I
Steelbook,
love it.
and I haven't had a chance to play it because I was waiting for my buddy. So
I know. Because we used to play the first game, Dying Light, the first one,
I
and
played
we
it-
spent hours
I
on it.
played that game by myself so many times by myself, and then I eventually through all my friend groups, I was like, guys, play Dying Light, the best game of all time. So like my account's so freaking maxed
Us
out.
three, we used to have it, and then he got it, and they're like, all right, I'm gonna join. Gets disconnected. What happened? Like, I don't know.
It's
Hold
like,
on. Let,
I would
let me
play,
join.
I would play with Bobby.
yeah, we
And we would be
fine.
fine. Then Leo joins in, I get kicked.
Something
horrible.
Yeah,
And he was
something
always
with
like,
their
"Oh, Raymond,"
connection
he's
just
like,
ruins it. Like,
He's
I
like,
don't know.
Raymond, your internet sucks. I was like, oh,
No,
when
and
play
I
with
would
Bobby, it's fine.
join. I was like, "Hey, Bobby, hey, Leo, what happened to Raymond? I don't know. He got disconnected. I was fine." And then
Like,
Raymond
we-
tried to join back in. He couldn't.
Yeah, we were
And-
like mid mission.
yeah.
He joined and then just dies.
Yeah,
Dude.
or
Your
like,
bandwidth wasn't your bandwidth wasn't strong enough
yeah, I
for two
don't know.
connections.
And then when I would get invited, I would go in, and then like his connection just started lagging like crazy, and my connection was fine. His was fine. And it's like he's like, I don't know
We
what's going
kept trying
on.
to like rotate hosts. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
know.
Maybe when the second movie comes out, you can come join us again. And then if
I'd
you're
love to. I'd love to. Man.
if you're a
Or-
pod,
and bring
We go
another
into a
poster.
zombie movie.
Yeah, bring a second one.
Thank you
Oh,
for
yes,
the
thank
gift, by
you
the
for
way.
gift.
Yeah,
That was great.
Beautiful.
Amazing, man.
It's great.
Movie prop.
If there's anything you want to discuss on your channel or anything specific, just reach out to me.
Of course.
Yeah,
man.
we'll do that. That'll
Of
be
course.
We'll let you use our set.
fun. Yeah.
I'll have you guys come onto our set. We're building a nice garage set.
Oh, that's nice.
nice.
That's nice.
So, all right. Go ahead and close this out, guys, with your guys' stuff, and then
All right, so that's gonna be it, guys. Until next time. Okay.
follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram.
Horror
Like the
podcast
video.
number 2.
And Midnight Mayhem podcast at
All right.
Instagram.com.
Aren't you gonna giggle at that? Horror podcast number 2.
Yeah, I know. I for some reason forgot our name was Midnight Mayhem right now. I don't know if I'm just
Yeah.
tired. I'm gonna wait
He's
for
like,
a
I
long
thought it was
time.
horror podcast.
Horror podcast number 2.
All right, guys.
Thank you for listening to
watching.
Horror
Yeah.
podcast number 2.
And our first
Another good
episode with the
episode.
guest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Hopefully we
Thank
we
you.
tried out that the sounds crisp. The video
Yeah.
is crispy too.
Okay.
Oh my god,
I feel
the
like
mics
I've been
are
very inconsistent.
Oh my god,
Audio's
dude.
just echoing.
Yeah.
God, it'd be so
Yeah.
sad. All right.
All right,
we
all right.
gotta do a reshoot.
Yeah.
What do we do? Everyone,
We're
everyone
dubbing
keep
it.
the hype. All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.